Hi, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Come in a little closer. Come in a little closer. My name is Audrey Whitaker Wright, and I co host with a great friend, Jacqueline Hall Moore. We're going to do our third show, and it's called A Different Perspective, and that's going to be this Friday, November 13th at 8 p.m. Facebook Live and YouTube. We hope to see you there. We're going to have some great guests. We're going to still be supplying hope and love and the love of the Lord. We hope to see you. God bless and have a great week.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Moore, and I would like to invite you to a talk show that I, along with my friend Audrey Whitaker Wright, co-host. It's called A Different Perspective. It is a wonderful show, and this week we have with us two awesome young women by the name of Tiffany Countryman and Nana Yeboah, who are going to be our guests. Now, they will talk about daddy's issues, and we know this is a subject we all can relate to. We know how important a father's love is, and so many of us right now are suffering from the lack of the father's presence and love in our lives. So meet us on Friday night right here at 8 p.m. You don't want to miss it. God bless.
Yo, it's Tiff Countryman, the writer and executive producer of the original stage play and hometown hit, I Wish I Had a Daddy. Listen, I'm here because I want to personally invite you to come hang out with the homie and Jackie on Friday. This Friday at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live. We're going to be talking about daddy issues. And I'm going to open up my heart. And I want to hear your heart too. So make sure you tune in and see us. Tiff Countryman, love y'all. Bye bye.
Praise the Lord, everyone. I pray that we are live. I am so excited to be here today. I am so excited to be here today. We have with us two wonderful women of God that are here, and they are ready to talk about a discussion that's maybe not too comfortable, but I think it needs to be talked about. We did this before. This is part two of daddy issues. We all know that everybody's dealing with a whole lot of stuff right now. It's not just COVID that's got us all wrapped up. We got a whole lot of stuff that needs to come out and build up and all that. So we're hoping that you guys will come on in and talk about what you need to talk about. So we have with us my co-host, Miss Audrey Whitaker Wright. Go ahead and say hello, ma'am.
Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? I think the enemy was trying to mess with us on these electronics, and that's why I know it's going to be a great show and it's going to help somebody. And you're helping me just letting me smile tonight. So it's good to see everybody. Good to see you, Jackie. Good to see you, Nana and Tiffany. I can't wait.
Amen.
I can't wait.
Well, she already introduced you to our guest, so go ahead and introduce Nana. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Yeboah. I've been practicing all day long, still got it wrong probably, but Nana, right?
Yeah.
Can you go ahead and give us a little bit background about yourselves?
Alrighty. Hi guys. My name is Nana and I am fresh out of college, young lady. So I would bring in a different perspective on daddy issues coming from someone around my age, and I am all for like the woman empowerment and educating people. So this is what I do for kind of like for a living. So I am excited to get into and just talk and have a conversation with y'all.
Yes, I'm excited. And you guys know Minister Tiffany Countryman is no person to deal with. She don't play when it comes to, she wrote a wonderful play. It's called, I just want to say it. Can I say it?
Go ahead.
I forgot it that quick. I know it had something about, I wish I had a daddy.
Yeah.
I went to that play. I went to the first viewing of that play and I left out crying like a baby. I didn't realize how much my dad.
Ooh.
We're just getting started. I'm already crying. I didn't realize how much the father's love and even though I had my dad in my life, still there were some things that was missing. I didn't realize how much it messed with my life. This play was, if you guys didn't see it, You not need to. I wish COVID would let us do it again, but I just want to introduce you guys to Minister Tiffany Countryman. She is nobody to play with. She don't play y'all when it comes to this. So go ahead, sweetheart. Go ahead and tell
Hey,
us about yourself.
everybody. It's so
Amen.
good to be here. Thank you, Jackie and I,
Yes.
for having me. Nana, is so amazing to sit on this panel with you. As Jackie said, I am the writer and executive producer of the original stage play, I Wish I Had a Daddy. It's a true story. It went through my life, my timeline of life from probably about preteen to just entering into college. And the difference with this play is that we didn't, touch on physical or sexual abuse is what you see in most gospel plays, which is real issues in our community. But this dealt with the emotional abuse that we deal with and that we sweep under the rug, and it's sometimes silenced. So that's where I'm at. I guess I'm the queen of daddy issues.
Oh boy. We're gonna have a great night tonight. We're gonna have
Amen.
a great night. Oh
So,
man.
what do you guys think is the main effect of not having a father? And even if you have a father, and if he's not that father that gives you love, what's the main effect that happens with especially women, men too, but women?
I think it creates a void in you as a woman. And I recently actually talked to a friend of mine, and she has daddy issues because her dad was in her life. And I believe it was us talking, and we touched on a topic that when your dad is not in your life, you kind of cling on any man that comes your way. You kind of don't know the good and the bad. And she has went through a lot of men who I believe aren't good for her at all, but she tends to cling onto the man because, oh, this is a male figure and he's good enough for me. Like, they don't know that there's this great love out there that I can experience because the dad wasn't there. So that they tend to cling on any man that comes their way. And even the man treats them terribly. They're like, no, this is a male figure in my life, so I'm going to cling on them. This is all I have. So I'm going to emotionally cling on them. I think it creates a void.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. That's one of the trademark things that you see with an abandoned child is that their their sexuality is enhanced, whether it's with a male, female to male, a male to a female that doesn't have a father. That tends to be the opening that the feeling that encases that void. But when we think about that, that's the fruit that we see. So we have to get to the root of the issue, right?
Wow.
So for my answer, it would be low self-esteem. Not having that father in your life that, gave you the affirmations, just the daily, good morning, baby. It's good to see you. Oh, I love your brown skin. I like your outfit you picked out today, because I watch my husband with my daughter and I never experienced that. So I think, and then just, in retrospect, just the low self-esteem that was developed from that because you didn't have that affirmation. And mothers are not as verbal with females, with daughters, as far as affirmations. And then that low self-esteem leads to the clinging to people, to making, risky decisions, to not being wise, because that low self-esteem is, propelling your life and your decisions.
Jesus Christ.
Oh
my God.
And a lot of times, even if the dad is at home and working, he might have 2 or 3 jobs. And so you only got so much in a day that you can do or relate to. And he's probably the best. I'm talking about the dad that was actually home, stayed married, and paid the bills and was the breadwinner, and ruled maybe sometimes with a stern hand, or sometimes when you work hard, you play really harder. And so they don't have to be accountable for some of the behaviors. And if you got someone with low self-esteem, how are you going to call their hand on the behavior? It's just like a cycle. I pray, just like when we had the election, that's not a fix all, but I think it gave the nation a minute to go.
Yeah.
It gave us to do that. And I think in life, with anything that you're going through, if you get that minute to just kind of, I think things can be fixed, things can be healed, and some things are generational. mama did it, so the daughter's going to do it, and then she's teaching her daughter. That's the relationship the daughter saw. And the man was in the house, and sometimes, you know, I don't know if it's better to have a man that's in the house but not emotionally there, versus not wanting to be there, versus him being gone. So it's a lot of issues, but I appreciate you ladies coming on tonight, because Jackie and I, we are, I don't want to call us OGs, but we come
Real
from
OGs.
we come from a different we come from a different generation, and it's so refreshing to hear what the ladies right behind us will have, you know, have to say, and we want to encourage our audience in hope. The reason for our show is hope, and you guys are offering hope. Did I put a lot on your shoulders tonight?
I think you did. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. You can handle it.
It is. And absolutely. I mean, so even so, you're talking about sex, you know, how we look at each other, how we look at ourselves, low self-esteem. So Tiffany, you dealt with a whole lot in your play.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were, I didn't know it was dealt with your own life. But so since you did that and you put it out there, how did you deal with it? I mean, Nana, I'm not sure if you've had any of these issues, but you know people that's going through it. So what thing do you see other than them making the wrong decisions that makes this affect, you know, it's so hard to explain, and it's so hard to get into the real crunch of what's really going on with us, because it's not just not having a father. It's looking at ourselves like, you know, my father has never taken me on a date. When I see young girls going on dates with their father, and my father never told me this is the type of man that I should be looking for. I look for somebody like my dad. And I hate to say this, but he was cheating on his wife. Ooh, did I just say that? Thank God my father is deceased. Ain't nothing he can do about it, in the name of Jesus.
Lord,
but it's the truth.
That is dirty laundry. Jesus, help us.
But I'm just saying. So all I saw was, you know. So does that affect me coming up? I already know the answer. That's affect me as a woman.
The thing is, so we have to really back into this issue, because if we're just talking about it as women, there's so many things that we deal with as women that honestly, daddy issues may never heal. My mother is well in her 70s, still dealing with daddy issues, and her father was of the father that was there, that provided for the home, that took care of the home. But I don't want to say that's all that he did, because that is a lot, you know, but that's all that he did. She would talk about how he would come home, sit in front of the TV or read the paper and say hello, and then that's it. And then you're dealing with that. So then as women, then you go into the workplace. 9 times out of 10, your boss or immediate supervisor is a male. Then you go to just any area that you're stepping in as a woman, excuse me, you're automatically triggered and you don't even know why. And it's because of that void that you have. Is healing possible? Absolutely, because God can do anything. God is able. Does it take work? Yes. So for me, and I'm going to turn it over, the play was 100% my stories, 100% real. The reason why the play came about was because I decided to go to therapy, because I was having the issues with men where it just wasn't working out. I was angry. I was mean. I was the typical daddy issues girl. I was that poster child. So after failed relationship after failed relationship, I'm like, okay, let's do some introspective work. It's not all the guys. So lo and behold, I went to therapy, and that's where the daddy issues came up. And I wrote the play because I started journaling. And those issues that you saw in the play, not until I started journaling did I know that those particular scenarios had affected me the way that they did.
Wow.
The play opens up talking about how Amber, who is the main character,
Mhm.
was waiting for her dad to come and visit and was out the window. Like that affects you. Like you're talking about abandonment and rejection.
Yeah.
And people wonder why you're so quick to
Yeah.
fire, because I'm still
Yeah.
that 7-year-old looking out the window away from my father. And if you
Jesus.
say you're gonna do something, then I need you to do it, because if not, you
Yeah.
look like him. So it takes intentionality, therapy, prayer, being focused, checking yourself when you see yourself acting a certain type of way because of a daddy issue.
Yeah.
It takes all of that for me.
Go ahead. You have it. She's like, I don't know what.
But on the interesting part with Nana,
Wow.
she's the beginning journey.
Yeah.
And then I take it from Tiffany, she's the next journey part.
Yes, I'm in my 30s.
And then, yeah, there are different, because I'm on my second marriage, so there's a journey. But I used to be Nana. I was working, going to school, and different things like that. So I think what she's going to add is going to be just as important, because there's lessons in her journey she still has to get. And the dating part of it, I think the way you're raised or how you see yourself, it affects the way you date, or even if you allow yourself to be dated, because sometimes according to TV and all of that stuff that comes out, they don't go on a date. They might meet up online or an arranged marriage or any of that kind of stuff. It's a little different. So I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm sorry, did you have any of these issues, Nana?
Okay, so when it comes to dating, relationship, and marriage, the idea of it, I think that's where my issues lie. So my story is different from Tiffany, because my dad has been in my life emotionally, physically, spiritually. Like my dad I believe is an amazing dad. Like since I was a little girl and I lived in Ghana with my grandma for 10 years. And when I moved to America, I was with my parents, and my dad raised me in the way of communication a lot. Like I remember summer nights, we'd go on walks and he would talk to Nana education. He's like, Nana, do this. Like he was always there for me. Like he was emotionally available. So I've always seen my dad as this high level dad, and I want a man like that. And that's what I want. If you don't have this quality, don't come to me.
Amen.
My dad like also dated me. Like he showed me, he would tell me not be with a guy like this. This is what you're looking for. Like I think my dad's an amazing dad. But when it comes to daddy issues, we tend to look at what if the dad is not there. But what if the dad is there and that still creates some issues in you?
Yeah.
And that's where like I think I come in, because since my dad was like this high pedestal man for me, has everything like provided for me, every man that came my way, I perfectly from them.
Yeah.
I forgot, like I recently actually went through this journey to figure this out, that I forgot that my dad at the age of 50, he had to work his way up to be the man he is now. And I expect a man in his early 20s to be dad.
That's good.
Like, my dad at 26, in his 20s was not the man he is now. It had to take a certain type of woman, my mom, and where he's at, to treat me the way I deserve to be treated. And then I forget that millennials nowadays aren't there yet. They need to also learn these life lessons. So that became like an issue for me, because not to like blow my whistle, but I kept asking myself, I'm a beautiful girl, I'm educated. Why am I not in a relationship, you know? And I realized that like I push guys away so easily, because they're not offering me what my dad is offering me at the age of 50 when they're not even there yet. So I had to learn how to compromise, how to learn that it takes a certain type of life lessons for someone to get there. And it's a kind of grace for them to get there before they can even treat you the way you deserve to be treated, because they're not there yet. I just realized that recently. So that's where my daddy issues lies when it comes to the relationship aspect of it.
That's
I know Miss Countryman has to leave us, but I'm trying to get as much information from her as I possibly can before she has to leave.
I almost forgot.
That's okay. But what do you see? Because what she just said was a mouthful.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
we try to, I mean, God, Lord, I wish I had learned that at 20. You
Wow.
how old are you? You're 20 now? I'm
22.
almost 60 years old, and I'm just not learning that lesson that a man is not where, he's not nowhere close to where you want him to be, but if you stick together. I've been married to my husband now 16 years, but we are nowhere, 16 years ago, we weren't where, things have changed. Praise
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
It works. But I also tell women, I know we get on a whole nother tangent, but I also tell women when I talk to young girls that you got to bring something to the table too.
Yes.
It used to be, the thing where, the man was the,
The breadwinner.
the breadwinner and all that, which he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But nowadays it takes 2, sometimes 3, 4 incomes.
Just to make
So,
it. Just to make it.
so, you're looking at, I know a lady told me a long time ago, and I'll never forget that. She said, don't you dare call yourself a woman, and you can't go into your cupboard and find 3 things. That's toilet paper, she said, toilet paper, something to eat in the refrigerator, and make sure you got something to wash your clothes with. Those are 3 things. She said, I don't care if you don't have but some eggs. You better have something in there to cook your husband something to eat. You better be able to wash, to wash his clothes, and toilet paper for whatever, obvious reasons. But we didn't learn these lessons. And now we're messed up. Like you said, we're 50, 60, 70 years old, still hurting. So what do you think we need to do? I think I know the answer, but what do you think as a young person, Miss Countryman?
Well, this is what I've learned. Millennials, we're very fluid. We're very open-minded. So I mean, I can only talk about me and my husband. So we don't go by gender roles. It's like whoever is the best at it or whoever can get it
I know
done.
that's
For
real.
example, my husband is a phenomenal cook.
Thank you, Jesus.
I didn't inherit that gene from my grandmother and my mom. My sister did, my older sister did, but I did not.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. And my husband is 11 years older than me. He's 44, I'm 33.
Okay.
So it was interesting how because again, I didn't have a blueprint of marriage, even a successful relationship. As far as I know, my mother ain't never talked to another man outside of my father, even though my father would have been divorced, all that. I don't even know if my mom has had another boyfriend, which is her business, but I've never seen a successful relationship. So when we went into the marriage, I had this whole, Lucy and Ricky Ricardo type setup, or what you see on TV. We're going to be laughing all the time. We're going to be fully dressed, makeup on all the time. There's going to be a full set of food every night.
Oh, yeah.
And I quickly learned that is not the case.
Quickly.
I'm talking about the first 2 weeks of marriage. After the honeymoon, we learned quickly that, I learned. He already knew because he was laughing at me like, girl, you tripping. But I'm like, come on, babe, you should do this, you should do whatever. So then we finally were able to sit down and talk and say, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where you're at. I said, I'll never touch the trash. And everything else is pretty much whatever. So I think for the younger generation, we're a lot more open. And then we put our foot down. The women in our generation put our foot down a lot more quicker or in a more aggressive way. The older generation does. And I say that because I'm never going to discount my elders or anything. I know the women before me, they were smart and quiet. They would take some money from an account, set it up in another account, and get enough money in there until, they needed to make their swift exit. Or
rainy day fund.
Some women had their own little thing going on the side while they man thought so they were a lot smarter and quiet. Where with us, we're like, oh no, this ain't gonna happen. We'll leave you, we'll divorce you, we'll blast you on Facebook. We just, it's just a different type of tact that comes along with it. So, I mean, the answer to the question, there's not much that you can do besides just be your authentic self and pray that someone else's authentic self finds you and that y'all be authentic together. You accept flaws and all, understand that there's no perfect relationship, no perfect man, no perfect woman, and then just take one day at a time. That's my answer to it.
Yeah.
Do you think communication helps a lot? Like you were saying, you all
Absolutely.
had to sit down and talk.
Yes. My husband and I, we will text all day. And it's not,
Oh.
hey, babe, how you know? It's like we're talking about bills, we're talking about strategy, family stuff. Of course, we talk about random stuff, but our communication, we're intentional that we have to do that because he is so busy in his world. I'm so busy in my world that it can so easily get to the point to where we're not really talking. We're just assuming, and then we're getting offended off of assumptions, and then it just rolls. So communication is vital. Communication is number one. Communication comes before love for me. Because it's sometimes I want to slap him in the face. Ain't no love holding this hand back, but communication gives a different way around it. So to me, communication is number one.
Wow. That's
I might like
amazing.
to ask a question.
Yeah.
For Tiffany. How do you think that daddy issues affect your marriage? Like, did it make you expect things from him or not expect things from him?
It didn't make me expect things. I didn't have anything to look up for to expect. Expect. I'm trying to say it the right way. It's late. But for me personally, I like poor Terrence. Now that I look back on it, he had to prove himself to me because of my daddy issues. He had to prove himself. He had to prove his word. And the poor guy, it wasn't just one time. He had to prove over and over again, like, Tiffany, I'm here. I love you. I got you. Yeah, I don't like this, I don't like that, but I'm here. Yeah. So for me, it was because my dad, he would call and say, oh, I love you. I'm coming to see you, the laugh and all this type of stuff. So for my husband, you could say you love me all day long. You need to show me. So our issue or my issue was that I was like putting him through the ringer. Like, okay, you just doing this because it's the beginning, or you just doing this because you want to marry me. When we were engaged, it was always a reason. Like, you're not genuinely here for me because no man has ever been genuinely here for me. So how are you genuinely here for me? Wow. So that was my issue. Whereas I can see where you are, where you would expect your husband to open the door, clean off the ice off the car. Let me tell you, my husband's not that type of man. Not that he's rude or he doesn't have chivalry, but he's not about to get up at 6 o'clock and clean off the car. If I ask him to, he will. But if I'm like, okay, I'm hope he clean off the car, it ain't gonna happen. So it's a lot to balance and digest.
And you're okay with that because
I wasn't okay at first because I guess that is something that I did have an because I had this Hollywood marriage that my husband was 100% sweet. He catered to me. I could bark and he, submit, because that's what you see on TV. Oh, my wife is mad. Not my husband. He'll shoo me off and let me know when you're ready to talk. I can scream, so I'm blue in the face. That does nothing for him. So it's I don't want to take up the whole time, but yes.
No, you're good.
You are good.
So at what point did that shift that, oh, maybe he is here for me for real and I should accept this?
Good question.
It is.
It's a great question because to this point, he never grew angry or cussed me out. I think it was God. I think it was one day I was just like, okay, like no matter how much I'm putting up in my mind, oh, he's just here for this, that, and that. Like he's still here. Like, and then we had gone through some things, not with each other, but some outside forces that was coming against our marriage. And he was as planted as a tree is by the water. Like he had my back, he covered me. And this was like in the first couple months of marriage. So I think it was all of that combined to where I'm finally like, Tiffany, you're going to lose a good thing. Like you got this man to marry you through all your issues, through all your questioning. He's taking care of your daughter that he does not have to take care of. So it was like a come to Jesus meeting for me because again, he never was like, you're ungrateful or he's never, put me down in that area. Like he has checked me like, okay, you could say this a different way, but he's never made me feel like my insecurities are not his problem. He has taken my problems.
That's good. That's good.
I'm sorry, I was looking at, I forgot what, I think it was, allforkids.org, something like that. Anyway, but it was saying that truancy and poor academic performance was 71% of most high school dropouts because of a fatherless home. Do you guys believe that's true?
Yes. My mom was working 2, 3 jobs, and we had the support of my grandmother. We lived with my grandmother. It was 6 of us living in a 2-bedroom house.
Jesus.
My grandmother took care of the household bills. My mother took care of all expenses regarding the 3 children. Because she couldn't get child support because my dad, he was on drugs. He was here and there and everywhere.
Wow.
So that caused her to be out of the house a lot more often. If I could be honest, I didn't develop a personal relationship with my mother until after I had my daughter, and I was 26 when I had my daughter, because we were operating as this business type relationship. If I need anything, hey mommy, I need some shoes. Hey mommy, I love you. Good to see you. I'll give you a hug. I'll give you a kiss. But there wasn't any intimacy. There wasn't a relationship. I had that with my grandmother. So my mother was like the mom of the house, and my mom was like the dad because she was working. So the kids fall through the cracks. We didn't fall through the cracks because we had my grandmother. So imagine those that doesn't have that extra support in the home. So that's how kids begin to fall through the cracks, not because their mom is negligent, not because she doesn't care. It's because she's trying to keep the lights on. She's trying to keep food in those kids' bellies. She can only do so much. How can she be at work saying, are you at school? Are you doing your homework? When she's at work. So that's how those things happen, because people are just simply trying to survive.
Wow.
I definitely agree with that. Like, it makes it easier for the kids to stray away from what's right for them, because there's room for them to, be kids, and no one to really be like, oh, hey, table and a roof over your head. So yeah, when there's less parents in the household, it definitely can cause the kids to be off the right path.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry, I have to exit. I hate.
You're
We gotta do
fine.
part 2. We gotta do a follow-up to this.
We will.
I have
Love you.
a prior scheduled engagement. It was so
We're
nice.
good.
To
Thank
meet
you.
all.
Thank you
I
for
love you all,
coming.
and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
God bless.
We'll keep plucking her. We'll keep plucking on your brain. How about that?
No.
All right.
That's okay. So Art, do you have a question? I'm sorry. I want
As far as Tiffany had said something about when she and her husband first got married, and she was talking about the duties of the house and cleaning, cleaning her car windows off. Now, I remember I was single before I married my second husband for over 30 years. And so I could cut my own grass. It wasn't manicured, you know how you edge, and I didn't do all of that. But I could cut my own shrubs, and I could cut my grass and take my own trash out. And so he won't let me cut the grass now. That can create a big fight. And
oh wow.
It could be overgrown. He may work the double when he can't, not a double, but worked overtime and can't get to it. But I better not be out there trying to cut it.
Wow.
And so when she was saying that for that generation and cleaning off windows and things, like there's some things from the older generation that we're just not allowed to do. But when I was single, I could do it all. So it was kind of hard to get in the mindset of letting him be the man in some things, because I was used to doing it all.
Yeah. I was also reading, I've been reading a lot on this subject, because I think a lot of this has happened, not just to the women, but a lot to the men too, because of the father not being there. I think a lot of the young men end up being parents. I can't even say parents. They end up being, well, somebody's parent, but they don't know how to parent, because you don't haven't had that parent to show you how to parent. Absolutely. So they become fathers. They become pregnant teens. I remember when my sister, back in the day, she was 15 when she got pregnant, 16 by the time she had the baby. Back then, I'm from Texas. They made you ride this separate bus, outside of your everybody else. It was like a little short yellow bus that would come to my house and pick up my sister because she couldn't be in the same school
Mm.
that the general population that all the other ones did. So it was embarrassing, not just for her, but for our whole family. And my mother was like, once my sister got pregnant, she put lockdown on me. I couldn't go nowhere. So,
Mhm.
but that because she didn't want another child, because she was working, like she was saying, she's working two, not two jobs, but she's working nights. My sister was basically raising us. My older sister, she was like the mother. So my mother was like the father and trying to
Mhm.
raise, taking care of 4 of the kids in the house. It was 5 of us. So my sister
Mhm.
ended up becoming pregnant. Then they also saying they abused alcohol. I know people started drinking at 4, 3 and 4 years old. They're 2 times likely to suffer obesity. I'm gonna throw out a lot to y'all. Then y'all talk about
Mhm.
it. 2 times more likely to drop out of high school, more likely to commit crime, more likely to go to prison, 2 times greater risk of infant mortality, more likely to have behavioral problems, and 4 times greater risk of poverty,
Mm.
Mm.
all because of a father's or a fatherless love. So
Mm.
what do you
Mhm.
have to think about that?
My question is, how can we, I don't know if there's a solution to it, but how can we fix it? Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
if you see a fatherless home, what can you do as a human being to support with that? Because it's a big job to fulfill. Like, if a person's not there as a father, emotionally, physically,
Yeah.
spiritually, it causes all that you just listed. So how can we fix it as a society? Like,
Yeah.
what can we lean on to help with the missing father?
Ooh.
Well,
I do know that they still have, and my husband is a part of the Big Brothers uh,
Mm.
organization, and he does have a young guy that I think he's 8 or 9 years old, and that he goes and he gets him, takes him places, but they can only go because of COVID. You can't go that much. So
mhm.
that's one good avenue, but that's not every day. That's it's. I think, and there used to be church, like you say, Audrey. Church used to be
Mhm.
a
Uh-huh.
place
And
where,
Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts,
yeah,
we used to get
yeah,
interaction, well, for Boy Scouts, that would be, where they would interact with a man.
with the
But
man.
in the time that we live now, you got to be real careful with all of that. With all of
Oh,
that.
yes, you do. You
And
really do.
who you let your children be around. Some people are overprotective and some people
Yeah,
are underprotective.
I
And
agree.
so
That's true.
that's a slow fix,
Yeah.
Nana. I just there's ways we can etch into that, and even as far as income, a woman taking care of her kids, she can go to work and she's not going to be paid with the man that stands right next to her doing the same job. She's not going to be paid the same amount of money, and she's got to take care of a home just like he's taking care of a home.
Yeah.
And so there's lots of little ways that maybe we can chip into fixing that,
Hmm.
but that's and
I
even
believe,
like,
oh, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
I believe we're all women of God here, and we believe solely in the church. So when things like this happen, like, I guess my question was more like geared towards the church. What can the church do?
Mm,
And you mentioned that, oh, back then there was the Girl Scout, Boy Scout, and everything, but now society has changed where people have to be protected because of
mm-hmm.
human trafficking and sex trafficking. So, like,
All
what
kinds of
can the
things.
church do? Like, what if a church can establish like a father type, there's women's ministry and men's ministry and choir ministry and so on. So what
Hmm.
if there's a father ministry that a church can build, and
Yeah.
they can point out that, oh, this member of the church, they're missing a father, so
Yeah.
you in the father ministry, you can take on their kids as a sheep and shepherd type of love, like, so they can have a
Mm-hmm.
male figure to look up to. the church can do to push this faith, you know, for at least to secure that, oh, us Christians, we have support in within ourselves. I feel like that would
There's
be
a young
a step in
man
the right
on,
direction.
I'm sorry, there's a young man online and his name is Andre Ewing. I wish I could get him online. Andre, if you are watching me, please, I would love to have you come on. Are you guys okay with that? Andre
Yes.
Ewing
Yeah.
is a police officer, and he's a wonderful man of God, and he deals with this, and he says the women need to support the efforts of the men's activities. I want to know more about that. So let me see if I can get him to come on.
Mhm,
We may have
mhm.
some may have a little controversy going on here. Let me see if I can get it. But I agree. I think there's a lot of stuff that we can do
Yes.
in the church.
Yeah.
But like you said, you have to be careful. You have to have the first thing. I think the main thing that we need to do is the same thing I did, realizing I had a problem,
Yeah.
realizing that because my dad, what I saw my father do affected me. And I think so many of us don't want to come to grips with that. I think the first the beginning of knowledge is understanding or wisdom. I think I'm getting it all backwards, but something like that.
Yeah,
Understand.
I get
I've heard it.
Something like that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know. I mean, I think that there are some hold on one second. Andre, will you come on if I give you the link? Okay. Oh, he said he's at work. Anyway, but he says he keeps saying that the women need to support the efforts of the men's activities. He said there are more women in church than men. Yes, there are. But why is I think it even goes back to slavery, y'all. Don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, the men were taken from us back then. So I think a lot of the issues is that they don't know how. So, and I hate to say that a lot of them just don't know how to be a man.
Well, and right now, in the time that we're in right now, where most churches aren't even able to meet. Yeah. And so if we came up with that for today, which is it was a very good suggestion.
Oh, I got a good suggestion.
There's
you guys know
ways we got to do that.
There's Zoom. There's Zoom conferences going all over. Why don't we get together? Andre Ewing, I'm putting you out there. I'm putting Andre. I wish you guys could meet him. He's a police officer in Cincinnati, and we've worked prison ministries together. He's wonderful. I think I think the men if they just need to know that they are needed, that we need them. I raised, I've had the opportunity to raise 2 boys in my house. Well, three men. Well, they're men now in my home. But without the help of my husband, I don't know how to raise a boy. Mm-hmm. I can mother him. I can teach him what's right from wrong, but I cannot teach him how to be a man. And I think that's where a lot of women mess up trying to. We don't know how to do that. We can do the best that we can. Not saying women can't raise them because they've done great work. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. I want to touch back to when you said they don't know how to because of slavery time. So I went to the school I went to, Mount Vernon Nazarene University, was predominantly white, and it was a Christian school. So we attended something called chapel, which is like church. And we had churches around the school. And whenever I went to a native church, I always wanted just to try and see how it is. There was a lot more men or equal men, like there's husband and wife, there's fathers, there's grandfathers. like in the white community. But when I come home and I go to church, or I visit a friend's church in the Black community or the African community, there is a lot more women than men.
Mm.
Which when you said it goes back to slavery times, like it has been
Mhm.
like embedded in our mind that the women go to church and the man is away, because the men was
Mm.
taken away from us. And once the men came home, the women had been independent enough that they didn't see how
Mm.
useful it can be in the home. If that makes
Mm.
sense.
Mhm. Mhm.
When the men were taken away from us, the job became the woman. Everything the woman was doing, the woman was like taking care of the family, providing. So when the man would come home, it's like, well, she's doing it. She got this. So what
Mm.
am I doing now? So I think there's now like a shift going on now that, oh, maybe I am needed as a man. Like I see a lot more millennial men now
Yeah.
chasing after their purpose, chasing after what they're meant to be, how to be a
Wow.
man. When
Yeah.
back then it was more of like, well, at least I'm here, I'm not
Yeah.
providing much, but at least I'm here.
Absolutely.
I think that
Mhm.
also has a play in this.
That's good.
Mhm.
That's
That is
good.
very good. That's I just hope with where we are now, because I still look at the news, um,
Man.
and what's going on, and right now we're not able to go in church and congregate,
Mm-mm.
or go to restaurants. We can go some now, but it's nothing like when we went before, and it's packed. You wait in line, you're standing next to
Mhm.
each other, and you're being
Mhm.
served, and everybody's working and a little
Yeah.
happier. But we were so busy. And I do believe, right now, I do believe that, even with the virus that's going on and the
Mhm.
coverage, and I still think God, He is in control. I know He's in
Absolutely.
control.
Yes.
And all the things that we complained about, all the things that kept us from being closer to Him or taking a deep breath, He has
Mhm.
moved those things. And so I believe right now we're in a breathing healing process. We got to get it right, because too many
Yeah.
things, um, 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 are waiting on us to get it right. Our
I agree.
children and their children. And
Yes.
and so right now it's kind of like, I feel like we're on pause. If you're watching a movie and
Mm.
you had to put it on pause,
Yeah.
and you don't cut the movie off, you're
Yeah.
still going to watch the end, but you're on
Yeah.
pause, maybe to take a break, to get a drink, or, to breathe. And I believe that's where we are right now, so we
Mm.
can, clear our minds, clear our hearts,
Yeah.
study a bit, so
Yeah.
we can, bring our families into the order that it's supposed to be, in which God, will get all the glory from. That's what I know for sure.
Well, since you said that, I've heard a lady I had on a couple of shows prior
Hmm.
she said that this wasn't just a pandemic. This was a plandemic
Hmm. Hmm.
that God had kind
Hmm.
of set us up.
Uh-huh.
He was tired of the way. And I still see people, saying, oh, I can't go to church. I can't go to church. And, dying because they can't go into a building. But yet
Uh-huh.
still, there's no reason that you cannot still serve God because
Absolutely.
look, I mean, it's everywhere you go. Most pastors now are on Zoom or YouTube or something. And I
Hmm.
think, like I said, there was a time when I was little, we weren't just taken, and dropped off at church. My mother took us and she stayed
Hmm.
there with us and made sure we went to class. But with what's going on now, God, we're seeing it says 19.5 million children, more than 1 in 4
Mm.
are live without a father in their home. So can you imagine that? 19.5 million children are living without a father in their home.
And most of them are going to become grown-ups one day,
Absolutely.
and they're going to be they're going to be over churches, over companies,
They,
or
yeah,
hospitals,
yeah.
or, legislation making
Right.
our rules. And these are people who maybe don't have the
Yeah.
full upbringing they need in order to empathize with
Absolutely. That's
people,
scary.
and we'll be seniors and they'll be making decisions over us. It's just one big cycle. But
Wow.
I pray we get it right. We don't have to get it perfect, but
Right.
we get it right.
Right.
I
I
do
know
pray that.
there's so many of my Black go ahead, baby. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Were you talking? Go ahead.
You're good. I believe I'm
No.
sorry. Can you
Go
hear
ahead.
me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. I believe either you or Audrey said this, that the men need to recognize that they're
Yeah.
needed. And that has been like ringing in my head ever
Yeah.
since you said that. And
Yeah.
I know like we're all women here, but and we can't really speak for men, but what I can say is like if they recognize they're needed and if they recognize that their part in raising a family is huge, then it will be less
Mhm,
of, oh, let me not be a deadbeat dad, let me not be an emotionally
mhm,
abusive or nothing.
mhm.
Like if they realize the power that they have in them
Yeah.
to raise kids
Mm.
and to change how they raise up, then it would definitely bring down the problem. Because
I
when you know
agree.
the
I
whole
do like that.
Me
impact,
too.
you have this
Yes.
impact, then you will definitely take part of that. But most men probably don't see it as, oh, well, your mama got it, or you got someone to do it, and they don't play
Right.
their part. So I think men need to recognize that their part in raising a kid is huge,
Absolutely.
huge. Yeah.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
even being married to a man, and my father and my husband is I think is a great husband, great father. You have to stroke their ego every now and then. Just say, baby, you know, you're doing a great job. I love you. I
Mhm.
appreciate you. I tell him all the time, thank you for taking care of me. Seriously, even though, yeah, that's his job, I guess his job. But so many men don't do it. So
Yeah.
just the little bitty things. But I didn't learn this in my first marriage.
Mm.
Mhm,
This is
mhm.
my second, like she said. It's that. Well, oh, yeah, second. I don't even want to talk about it. But but you learn as you go. So
Yes,
now that
there's
we
some
know better,
things we do different. Yeah,
we
there's some
do.
things we do differently. Or
Absolutely.
even like in compliments, or my husband, he can have on work clothes and he'll come
Yeah.
through. I say, "Oh boy, you look good today," and he
Ah,
smile. Or sometimes it's just little things. It's just little
yeah.
things. Or
I
he'll
like
say
that.
something to me when I'm walking out the door. "Oh girl, you doing it today?" I said, "Really? Okay, that's so." You just gotta know how to talk to each other and flirt like you did when you were courting.
That's right. Oh,
Even more so.
that's true.
Yeah.
Even more so.
What happened to the adults telling the young ladies
Mm.
things? Because we know what it used to be a day when if we came to church and our skirt was too short,
They
Sister
call
so and
you.
so would make us
Mm-hmm.
put on a robe. You
Mm-hmm.
know, or she, you know, we had when splits first start coming out, we had a
Mm-hmm.
split up the back. If it was too
Mm-hmm.
much of a split, they would take a needle or a safety pin and pin you up, or they would pull you to the side and say, "Baby, you know that ain't that ain't right." You
Or
know,
when I was coming up, we weren't even wearing pants. You couldn't
well,
wear
there you
ladies
go.
couldn't wear pants to.
The church. Oh
Oh
no.
my goodness.
Oh
Oh
no.
no, you didn't do
she
that.
said. She said, "Really?"
No,
Oh,
no,
No, we
no,
would.
no, no, no. You didn't do that. They look at you like your skirt was up over your head. No, you. No. Oh no.
Yeah.
I think
So
to answer your
there's a
question,
difference.
Yeah.
I think to answer your question, like being a millennial, being being raised in Ghana, I experienced a little bit of that. Where if you go to church and if you have rips in your jeans, you better go home and change.
Oh
If it's
wow.
short, you are not welcome here because you're supposed to respect the reverence of God, you know. But then I
Mhm.
come to America and I see that millennials here are headstrong. They're
Mm.
going to do what they're going to do, and there's less respect for the elders. It's more of like,
Oh
well, I'm me,
yes.
you're you, let me do me, and you do you. Your time has passed, this is my time now. And we forget the reverence of what the elderly or what the eldership people have to like offer us, like the knowledge, the wisdom, the
Mhm.
like helping us to grow to be who we are. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of that disconnects here. Like in Ghana, it's totally different. Like the elderly is respected, and you
Yeah.
are to listen to what they're saying, like what there's
Yeah.
like what you're saying. You can't just dress anyhow to church. And if you're looking for marriage, you talk to an elderly. Looking for kids, you go to the elderly to help you with your life
Wow.
decisions. But here in America, in the millennial stage, it's more of like, let me figure this out myself. I am headstrong. I am educated. Social media is there. There's more resources now than you. So there has been respect taken from the elderly when it
Mm.
comes to who to go to for advice.
And
So
probably
now
Wow.
here,
church can.
hmm but probably here with our younger ones, and I might
Mhm.
get in trouble for saying
And
this,
I'm
a lot
sorry,
of
go
them
ahead.
even think that they're entitled.
Mm.
Um, but it's a difference of our cultures.
Yeah.
But I do like the
Yeah.
point she made about if men, or if men can feel that they're important, that they're needed. I think, and then they kind of tell their wives that they're needed. I
Mhm.
just think you have a happier home and
Right.
appreciate. Um, I just think, but like we were talking before, nobody's training people to do that.
Nobody.
Nobody's training
So,
folks to do that.
Mm.
so in knowing that the man needs to know they're needed, what is our role as women then? Do we tell the men, hey, you are needed, or do we become less independent and more dependent on the men? How do we make them feel that they're needed in the household?
Mm.
As
I think we don't have to lessen ourselves just to make them
Yeah.
feel more needed. But I do think that if we want them to play their role, we're gonna have to not be so hard. I don't need you, because we do. We do need men. We need men to procreate, freeze or whatever. But the way that God meant it, I think if we get back to the way that God said, that the husband and the wife and all that, I think we'll be okay. I think we listen to so much of TV and
Mm-hmm.
reality TV. That like Tiffany was saying, that's not real. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's there's no, it may not work out like, Sarah, what she say, Lucy
Oh, Lucy and Ricky
and Ricky
Ricardo.
Ricardo, you know, Lucy, I'm home. Well,
Hollywood marriage.
oh.
But even they got divorced, you know. In real life, they got divorced.
Oh
So
wow.
so we were watching a dream on TV,
Right. But you
another
know what?
dream.
And even on Good Times,
Mm.
uh, they showed that, and I was one. I was thankful that they show. You might not even know what Good Times is. Good Times is it's a old sitcom of black people that was in Chicago. They
They
were
were in Chicago,
in
Florida
Chicago and
Evans,
Florida.
Florida, and
Yeah,
James and
yeah.
J JJ.
JJ Walker and all them. But they it was a family of three kids, a mother and a father. They stayed together through thick and thin, no matter what.
And
When he
most of the
lost a
time it was
job,
thin.
it was like
And most of the time it was thin.
so
But
thin.
they
But
made
they
it
made it.
fashionable. Like Florida could sew all her clothes. I remember watching when Thelma, the daughter,
Oh yeah,
I remember watching her, and whatever she had on, I'd go to J.C. Penney and try to find something close to what she had on. And then at the time, Florida could go in the room and sew something, take something
right,
to make it new. My mother
right,
could sew, and so our
right.
mothers, I think even not being rich, we were better because
Mm,
they could make whatever that was needed their own hand. And then she also made a part-time living off of sewing. She could remake any garment somebody bought to her to fit that person, or I remember her making prom dresses and
yeah,
things like that. And
yeah,
so going back to Good Times, that show, it shows a loving black family, and
yeah,
the things that they had to go through, not having enough. Well, they barely had enough to eat. They weren't eating the things that was the healthiest for, all the good stuff is not healthy for us. And but it was a good show, and it made me smile and laugh a lot.
Yeah. But they stayed together.
They did.
And I think what like she was asking, what do we need to do? And I think after all the
Where
talk
can we
that we've
start?
had tonight,
Where can we start?
what we start by doing this, by having more open forums. I believe we need to really think about doing this again and bringing on some men. Maybe
Okay.
I have I've had this idea in my head to have an older couple who've been married for 50 years. One's been married for 30, one's been married for 20, one's been married for one, and then some single people. Let's just come together and talk.
I like that. I like that
I
idea.
think it's not going to get any better until we do. Because if you look at it, I'm no different than you.
Absolutely.
You know, we need each other. I think it's not just the men that need to be told, I need you as a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like women also need to know that, like, try to impact a positivity in the men's life. Like whoever you encounter, let them know that, hey, you are a man of God that is needed for this to be completed for God's will. I'll do my part, you do your part, and it will come together beautifully. We need you. Like, it doesn't have to be in a romantic sense or any type of relationship, but just as a brother, an uncle, a dad, a grandpa, whoever is in your life, speak positivity to them. Like, because men, like how a woman talks to a man affects them, you know.
It
So
does.
positivity to them that, hey, you are needed. You have to put part for God's will to be done. And I think that will start communications and conversation in between themselves as men that, hey, maybe you are like, we need to step up a little bit, you know. So just learn how to impact people's life positivity to make sure we come together as one.
Amen. Amen. I think that's a great way to.
Absolutely.
It's a great ending, because we can keep talking, but I think we're saying the same thing. What do you think, Audrey?
I don't have anything else to add, but I'm smiling, and she's given me some things to think about.
Right.
And I'm so glad I met you, Nana. Absolutely, you're amazing. You're amazing.
Amen.
Full of information, and I think you're a little older than you said 22. You're a little older than that.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing.
Right.
That gives you a great heart.
It does.
Thank you.
You know. No, baby, go ahead. No. Go ahead, please.
I've enjoyed this very much. I've enjoyed this conversation because it's something that is like you look past so easily. And it took me 22 years for me to realize that I have a daddy issue, even though my dad was in my life. You know, I've always like seen that, oh well, daddy issues is for the people that the dad was not in their life. And then I get to this point in my life, and it hits me like, girl, relax, like learn what is going on and like digest what is happening here. So I feel like a lot of, if not a lot of, everybody has some form of daddy issues. If it's high expectation in men, there is some form of issue and disconnects that we have. And when it comes to men stepping up and playing the role to make sure this happens, is we have to have a conversation with them. Like any men that's in our lives that, hey, you are needed just as much as I'm needed in the kingdom of God. Like just have the conversation with them and not belittle men because something that they're going through. Like put them in their place. Like you are needed. You are needed. You are needed. And that will start something in them. Like what am I needed for? Maybe I need to like start working on this. So I definitely enjoyed the conversation, and I hope it sparks something in the viewers that, oh, we need to talk about this more. We need to look in depth about this more. And it will definitely create a positive change for God.
Oh yes.
Amen.
Oh yes. And I hope that we all will still stay in contact sometimes, because I look for your story to evolve.
Yes.
You know, your journey to evolve.
Absolutely. Oh, she's stuck with us now. She's stuck with us now.
I know. I am
say,
to meet you
I
too.
met him.
Like,
I met him, or whatever. Yes, you may actually have a little question or something.
We may can help you. Who knows?
Mhm.
I love talking.
Oh,
I love
good.
talking and asking questions when it comes to someone who's older than me. So I would definitely be using you a lot.
Well, use us, baby. We would love to be
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. We don't mind. We
We
got
don't
lots of
mind.
information. We've already
Absolutely.
banged our own heads over. So you might as well ask us so you don't have to bang yours. Absolutely.
That is so true.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I just pray that I know we don't have all the answers, and we
No, no.
may not ever get all the answers, but I do know one thing she said today was is just still resonating in my heart is that my whoever you may meet, he may be a diamond in the rough just
Mhm,
because you looking at someone who was way up here as a king. He
mhm,
hasn't always been a king. He
mhm,
may have started out being a prince. So
Mm.
just give him a little time and give him a
mhm,
little edge and little say, you can do
mhm.
this, put one foot forward, you coming together and
Yeah.
you can make a beautiful life together.
Oh,
But it
yes,
does take
Yeah.
two.
it
Actually, it
does.
takes three.
Yeah.
It takes
Yes.
you, him, and the father.
Oh,
And
yes.
Yeah.
if you don't put the father
Absolutely.
first, you can forget it. It's not going to work.
And
I
he's a
tried it.
gentleman. If you don't ask him, he won't come to the party.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And he's definitely welcome to any party that we do. So
Absolutely.
thank you again, Miss Nana Yeboah. Did I say it
It
right?
was a pleasure. You
Oh,
did.
it
No,
just flowed
I'm getting
gently.
good.
It
I'm getting
just
good.
flowed.
you
I
did it
I, I look
perfectly.
forward, I look forward to seeing you again, and I'm so proud of Miss Audrey Whitaker. Right, y'all, she's coming out of her shell. This I believe she's liking this, y'all, a little bit.
I'm getting there. You
I
know,
think
one thing
so.
about Jackie, if she think it's in you, she can bring it out. She'll keep talking to you like it's there. So, well, maybe let me see.
Oh wow. Well, this
Yes,
is
it's
not our
an
last
honor and a
show.
privilege.
Oh, God bless. It is. And we will continue. I think we may have another show out of this, maybe a part 4 or 5. Who knows? We'll
We
just keep
might have
doing
to do
what
another daddy issues. We
we
might just have
will.
to do that.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Thank you
We
guys
just,
again. We'll continue to pray for our nation, pray
yes,
for our country. We don't know
a
what's going
smooth
on,
transition for
but we know
a
God
God
knows.
a God transition. Yes.
Amen. Thank you again for coming out to another segment of A Different Perspective.
A
So
different
we'll
perspective.
see you again on next time. Bye
God
bye.
bless everyone.
God
Take care
bless.
and thank you.